Hello, this is Category 5 Coffee Break. Today is Sunday, the 11th of October, 2020. I'm BP9, hello. And with me we have Solbu, give us a wave, Solbu. And we have Doug, give us a wave, Doug. And we've got Peter here in the meeting, but I've got no audio from Peter, so I don't know what's...
Try now. Can you hear me now?
Oh, rather, yeah. I do have good audio. I'm sorry. We do have good audio. I've got no video from you, Peter. Your audio's perfect, but I've just got no camera.
Okay, let me start it again. Is that better now?
Yeah, much better. There we go. We can see you now. Very good. Complete with sound bars from the from your lighting. I don't know if that's your fluorescent lighting or your LED lighting or what it is, but
the flash on it horrible.
Yeah. All right then. So I've had some fun this week. I have been having all kinds of fun. I'm still I'm trying to figure out this thing called Docker. I don't know if anyone's actually used that here on the list, but I'm trying to figure that out because I still have some CVS repositories, source code in CVS repositories that I need to convert to Git. And the problem is that the tool that I use called CVS to SVN requires Python 2. And the problem is Python 2 is gone. It still exists in Ubuntu 18.04, but it no longer exists. It's been gone. And so there are a few packages that I've been using, that I've been trying to use, that just plain don't exist anymore. And CVS to SVN is one of them. It's gone now. You just can't get it. And if they ever upgrade it so that it can use Python 3, then we should be good shape. But currently, there's no plan for that. So I'm running Ubuntu 18.04 on the Pinebook, and the Pinebook is starting to bug me now because it says, I want to upgrade to Ubuntu 20.04, and I don't want to do the upgrade because if I do the upgrade, I'm going to lose all the Python 2 stuff. So I've stopped that upgrade for right now, and so far that's working out okay. But I need a way to either start up a virtual machine that's an 18.04 virtual machine, or I need a way to run Docker or so. Docker seems to be a better option just because it's more lightweight.
What about VirtualBox?
Well, VirtualBox is an option too, Peter. That's one of my options as well, and I can certainly do that. I've got enough CPU and enough memory to be able to do it as a virtual machine. But I wanted to try Docker because I'd never tried it before. So I have no problem doing virtual machine if I can, if I need to. But I will try. I do want to have a good go with Docker first. So if anyone has used Docker before, I'd be more than happy to chat about that. Also, test harnesses. Now, I don't know whether anybody has done this. In my professional computing career, I have worked on all kinds of languages, starting from COBOL way back when, to C, C++, Java, all kinds of assembly languages, all kinds of other languages as well. But one of the things that I really liked about not Java specifically, but a toolkit that you can use with Java called Spring. Or Spring Boot, which is a variant of Spring. And one of the things that it lets you do is to define what's called a test harness, which consists of nothing but test code, code that you use to exercise your library or your application that you're trying to run. Usually you would run this application as a command line argument or a GUI or whatever it is that you're trying to run your application to do. But you can actually build an executable that is a test harness that does nothing but exercise the various parts of the rest of your application. Doesn't run the GUI or any of that mess. It's a separate application. It's all part of glib is what I use it for. And I love it. I've just started, I built myself a pretty crappy test harness originally, but all I could do is say, run all the tests. I couldn't really select which ones they were, nor could I effectively see what the test results were. But with glib, it's sort of built in. So anyway, that's what I've been working on. I've been having all kinds of fun with that. And my Pine Time, still bricked.
Still not showing the time?
Still bricked. I haven't had a chance to go back and work on it yet. I did charge it up. I'm pretty confident that it charges, but I really need to get back onto this. But I'm having so much fun with test harnesses and fun stuff like that I haven't really done anything with the Pine Time. So I really need to hurry up and do that. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I've been up to. Robbie's not with us today because I think it's Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend, which I believe is Monday. I believe it's Monday. In the US, when we have Thanksgiving, it's usually the Thursday. You get the Friday off, and then you've got the 2 days. So you've got like a 4-day weekend. It's great. But I think the Canadian Thanksgiving is the other way around. I think you get the weekend and then you get the Monday off. I haven't really looked into that. So that's what I've been up to. Solbu, what sort of mess have you been? I see you back on the bridge of, what is that, Voyager?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm having the night shift. So, and Neelix came with some food for me today.
How nice. What is that, pizza?
Yeah.
Oh.
He finally managed how to do pizza. So.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. So, it's looking good, Solbu. I like it. It's looking very good.
I finally managed how to hang the backdrop. So I found in the basement of my house the previous owners left behind some curtain hangers, the poles that the curtains hang around. Yeah. So I'm using one of those to between two poles or something that it can hang on, and then it's not wavy because it lags down in the middle.
Right.
The last time.
Yeah. And if you get too energetic with your hand movements, it gets confused and it starts to bleed through. So just so you know that.
Yeah. Other than that, I used a full hour in an attempt to change one of the main headlights on my car. I noticed yesterday it was broken after I had a sound engineering job in my church yesterday from 11 o'clock and until a.m. and until 10 o'clock p.m. And I got dinner and supper and so I had to wait until today in order to change it. And then in modern cars, it's not too much room in order to change a light bulb in a modern car. So I had to fiddle in order to get the broken light bulb out. And then I went into the gas station where I stopped and bought a new one. And I couldn't get it to fit in my new car. So I needed some tools, and so I went home in order to change it. And I still couldn't make it fit. And then I called my brother, who, after a little searching, found out that they sold me the wrong bulb. So I had to go back. And, it's funny how problematic could be to change the bulb if the socket doesn't fit. Yeah,
I've been taking notes, and I forgot that I mentioned this. I got fountain pens now.
Nice.
Yeah. I have like 3 or 4 of them. This thing cost a grand total of like $1.50 or $2 for that. That's it came pre-inked. I don't think you can even change the ink on it. But I've got I don't know 3 or 4 of them, all different types that I got as a sample pack basically, and I wanted to try them all out. And believe it or not, this dinky, tiny little thing out of the sample pack is the easiest, the nicest one to write. So, yeah, I'm so retro. But now, these headlights of yours, what did you get LED headlights now? Are you swapping them out? Because, I mean, my vehicle, I've got the old incandescent headlights that are getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer over time, and I really need to replace them. But I would love to just pull them out and put.
According to my brother, who knows a few things about this, he says that if you are changing from old-fashioned light bulbs and fitting LED lights, you most likely also need to change the light, the entire thing, because it's not calibrated to LED, and it might be too bright or not light in the right places, or so.
Well, and
also one of the problems with LED lights, because I have the head beams. I have an extra set of lights.
That's true.
Yeah, and
that's true. There are 2 filaments in the headlight actual bulb, isn't there? One filament for the downward-facing headlights, and the other for the brights.
Yeah,
correct?
I have in my car. I have a Kia Ceed, a 2007 version, and this car have one bulb for the main lights, and another smaller lamp with the main beams. So it has only one thread, and it's a different socket than the usual. But
mine is a Nissan Leaf. It's a full 100% electric car, and it actually has LEDs for the downward-facing lights. For the lights that cast down onto the road, and then incandescent lights for the high beams. And there's a control at the driver's station, at the driver's location, that you can actually twist a knob, and it brings the headlights down like that, so they don't shine into the car behind you.
I can do that in my own in my car as well. But
I've only ever driven old clunkers, and I've never seen that before. I love it. It's great. Yeah. I'm such a child.
But back to the reason for an argument against replacing the bulb, old-fashioned light bulbs with LED lights, is that the LED lights doesn't generate heat. And because I noticed in my LED extra head beams, when I use those and it's snowing, there's no sticks to the light, and after a few miles, they are no good. It takes from downtown and unto my house, it takes a 20-minute drive. And if it's snowing, I have to stop for 20 minutes. I have to stop 3 times in order to clean those lights. Whereas
so the LEDs do or do not generate heat.
They do not. So they don't. They do not melt the snow.
Then 90%.
That's funny. Yeah, no. I know, Peter. I know they're great. That's why I like them, because I've got them in the aeroplane. I've replaced all of my incandescent lights in the aeroplane with LEDs, and it's wonderful because I still use a generator, not an alternator, because it's that old, like me. And and you hardly see the ammeter wobble anymore when you turn the light. I can have the landing lights on, and the ammeter hardly even wavers now, whereas with the old incandescent lights, it used to pull like 10 amps or something. I mean, it was crazy.
90%.
And the LED lights don't ice over?
Well, I don't fly in ice.
Oh,
I'm VFR only. I stay out of bad weather. I'm a very conservative pilot. I fly when it's pretty weather. I mean, we've got some crappy weather today because of the hurricane. But
I thought even on a nice day, if you got up high enough, you'd get ice.
No. Well, you can if it's really humid outside. That's the thing. And you don't have to be in freezing temperatures for that to happen. It's the humidity, because what can happen, I've had carb ice happen before in the aeroplane, because when you're up at 9.5, 10,000 feet and it's still humid up there, what will happen is that as air travels through the throat of the carburetor, what will happen is ice will appear here and here, and eventually it will just sort of, go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Close off the throat.
It'll make the throat less and less, less air and fuel mixture can get through. And what will happen is eventually the mixture will be messed up to the point where it just can't run the engine anymore. And so the engine will quit producing power. It never stopped turning, but it did stop generating power. So luckily I was right over the top of an airport whose controlled airspace didn't start till like 5,000 feet. So I just started circling, and then in order to try and figure out the problem before I called Mayday. But I did not have to, because I sorted it out well before then, and then flew home. So that worked out pretty well for me. So Doug, how are you going, sir? What's new in your world?
Well, they figured out that I have a bacteria called Carbelo Bacter. And
what now?
I think it's Carbelo Bacter. I looked that up.
Doesn't sound good.
Well,
I
it's
was
one
about
of
to say
the,
cool, but that's not the phrase for this kind of.
No, it doesn't sound good at all.
it's one of the bacteria that's known to cause food poisoning. You've heard of salmonella. That's pretty common.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This one is, I guess, not as common, but it's known to cause food poisoning. And I'm taking azithromycin, if you know what that is. It's an antibiotic.
Yeah.
I took the last dose of azithromycin today, so I'm going to try some solid food
like
later.
That's
3
like
days.
a 7-day course then.
3 days.
3 days? That's all?
Yep. 3 500
Is that what
milligram
they call a
caps.
Z-pack?
Yes.
Is that what they call a Z-pack?
The Z-pack is usually 6 250 milligram tablets. I've had that. And you take 2 the first day, and then 1 for each for 5 days after that.
Okay. But you got a slightly different dose by the sounds of it.
They gave me, my doctor wrote the script for the 6 250 milligrams, and he told me to take 2 a day. And then when I got to the pharmacy, the pharmacist says, well, we told him we have it in 500 milligram caps. So he rewrote the script to give you the 500 milligram caps, and you just take 1 a day for 3 days.
Yeah, they usually don't like just 1 a day, do they? They'd rather that you spread it out over time. They'd rather you take 2 a day or 3 a day, right? But I guess...
Well, it depends on what you're fighting.
From most antibiotics, right, okay.
With a respiratory illness, which is what I've had the Z-Pack for, I get bronchitis sometimes. And they will give me Z-Pack for that. And that's the one where they have the 250 milligram caps. And you take the 2 on the first day and then 1 for 5 days after.
And to Peter's point, that's very true. Yeah, I was going to say, to Peter's point, that's very true, because what can happen is, I mean, I've had dental issues over many, many years. And at one point I was taking 2 different antibiotics for 2 different issues. And my dentist said, I'm not going to do any antibiotics because the last thing I want to do is tear up your stomach.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is let the current course that you're on run through, and you're just going to have to put up with what's going on in your mouth.
Yep.
And then whenever that's done, then we'll address your antibiotics. But that's a very good point, Peter.
Antibiotics.
I've certainly seen that before.
Antibiotics can kill the good bacteria in your gut.
Right. Well, I'm so glad you're feeling better, Doug, and I'm very happy that they figured out what was wrong. I hope you're getting to feeling better now.
I'm probably going to go back to work Tuesday, especially since I'm out of paid time off.
Oh, yeah, I hate it when that happens. Well, I'm contracting at the moment, so if I don't work, I don't get paid. So I haven't had any. Yeah, so I haven't had any vacation.
That's gotta hurt.
It's okay. It's you deal with it. You plan ahead and work through it. So Doug, what else you been up to? Then I'll hand it off to Peter.
Well, basically nothing. Just trying to recover.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, Peter. What sort of trouble have you been getting into?
Be careful.
And by the way, let me say, Peter, thank you for working so hard on your audio, because it's perfect this time around. That headset that you're wearing
headsets.
I see that. It's working really well, and you've got great audio and great video, and I very much appreciate that.
Oh, that's right. I try to sort things out. Yeah, I've been having slight problems with the provider who don't do anything particularly. I've been having intermittent problems where the provider used to keep dropping out every night.
You mean your internet provider, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was a blue light on the modem. In other words, the carrier's coming through, but there was nothing coming through. And I've complained about 6 or 7 times over the last 3 months, and they don't want to do anything particularly.
Well, it seems to be working okay now. What's different?
I found out what the problem was. They supposed to have sorted it out this time and giving me back in 48 hours, and it's 96 hours plus now, and they still haven't done it.
Don't forget it's a weekend, so
no. This was on Tuesday. Don't worry, this was a long time. Okay. They just bloody used to think you couldn't pull the piss up in a brewery. Excuse my French. They really are bad. Everybody in England said they're bad, but I'll ask you a question. I got 2 switches. I got a switch up connected to the router, which operates my network system, and then there's a wire goes downstairs that's connected to a downstairs computer, which I can use downstairs. I've got a switch in there as well, and that's the one that keeps sticking. It used to keep sticking on or off, or whatever it used to do, and used to wreck the internet. So I've taken it out and put a back-to-back connector on it. But is it right to have 2 switches on the same line almost? Is it okay, do you think?
No, yeah, I do that all the time. I have from my internet modem. I have one Ethernet cable that runs to my main Netgear router. Now, if Robbie were here, he would say Microtech. He would say, "Go get a Microtech." And I may do that one day, but I got a whole slew of Linksys routers that I inherited. But I can plug up my cable modem or my internet modem directly to the Linksys or the Netgear router, and it will. It's how do I put this? The router that I've got also offers Wi-Fi on 2 gig and 5 gig and all that stuff. But the problem is that any devices that you connect to your internet router are visible to your internet provider. They may be protected from the general internet, but your internet provider can see all those devices. I do not know if it can see all the stuff that's on those devices. You know, if there's any network ports open or whatever.
They can.
I don't know if they can get to that.
They can. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. And that's why the very first thing I did was shut all that stuff down. I almost said a bad word. Shut all that down. No Wi-Fi, no 2 gig, no 5 gig Wi-Fi from the internet modem. And then just one Ethernet cable that runs from the internet modem to my own internal router, which is the only thing that provides the 2 gig and the 5 gig Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
all that the internet company can see is just my router. That's it. And then I've got more routers in the network. I've got more routers in the network to spread out the load even further if I need to.
Yeah. But I also trying to tell them. They said, "Can we use Wi-Fi?" I said, "No, because there are too many people over the road who sit outside my door, try to break in. I've seen them do it. So what I do is put the radio on. I put the radio on and I transmit, and it would normally scare them like nobody's business, especially on 30 meters."
Okay, so there's a couple of ways around that, Peter. You can actually make it a private Wi-Fi connection. You can make it not transmit the SSID, and in my case anyway, and I guess your modem can do it too, you can allow connections only from network devices that you recognize, and that is by MAC address.
That's what we've done, yeah. But I also
well, then nobody should be able to break in if they don't see your SSID.
I was trying to explain to them that I don't put it on, and they don't. BT didn't understand that. I told them a number of times about that, and they did seem to want to understand. Could have been the switch has been a bit no good. The switch is probably intermittent somewhere because it goes intermittent every so often and it causes a crash.
It's possible, but so my first question is: your Wi-Fi is coming from the BT supplied device, or is it coming from your own router?
It comes from a BT line, and it goes up into a wire, then it goes into the BT.
Okay, so the first thing I would do is disable that in the BT router, and then I would go get another router like a Netgear or a Microtech or something like that, plug that into your BT router, and then let the Microtech or whatever router you get, let that provide the Wi-Fi for you. So that all the telecom modem is doing is literally just providing you an internet connection, and then you manage the network from there in.
And also, if he when he turns off the Wi-Fi from the BT router, and in the new router, if he uses the same SSID and the same password as the BT router has, then he doesn't need to. Then all of the existing devices will automatically start using the new device, and he doesn't have to set up anything.
Yeah, but I picked my own SSID and set my own password, so separate from the internet device.
I'm not an expert like you lot because I'm just I started very late in life with about networking systems, so I'll have to look into that sometime. The other question, I asked Robbie, but he was off having his lunch, having his turkey, and the Roku box. In there's an SSD card. What does it do?
I have not had a lot of luck with the SD card in the Roku, Peter. What's supposed to happen is as you cycle through all the channels in the Roku, what's supposed to happen is that each channel that you can select at the main menu of the Roku typically has its own list of channels inside the application. Like Netflix has all of its channels inside the application. YouTube does as well, and there's various others. And what the SD card is supposed to do, when I was able to make Twitch work, it doesn't work on Roku anymore unless anyone knows a way to make that work. But Twitch used to have its own set of channels as well. And the SD card was supposed to record those, so it didn't have to re-download them every time you switched from like Netflix to Twitch or whatever. But I found that not to work very well. I found that what happens is that it tends to use what's in the SD card regardless of whether the channel list changed on the service or not. So that you can,
Nice.
so you go back to Twitch and then it says, yeah, well, here's what I've got out of the SD card. I'm not going to tell you what the service is offering because I think the SD card is better. So I would not use an SD card is what I would recommend, Peter. I would not use the SD card.
What did the USB port do as well? The first time I picked the thing up and actually look at it, because this is one of the things I turned off when I was trying to find the full. What does the
right.
USB port do in the Roku box?
I don't recall there being a USB port, but there should be an Ethernet connector on the Roku.
There is.
And we're running out of time, so we are running out of time. Can't go any further.
Yeah, and VPN on his